In the year 1936, far from the busy cities of America, there stood a forgotten town called Black Hollow. The town was small, quiet, and slowly died. Most young people had left in search of work. People said the house remembered everything that happened inside it, and it never forgot. The house once belonged to the Carter family. Mr. and Mrs. Carter lived there with their 3 children. In the winter of 1921, something went terribly wrong. Neighbors reported hearing screams late at night, followed by complete silence. The next morning, smoke rose from the house, but no fire was found. When the sheriff entered, the family was gone. No bodies, no blood, just empty rooms and burr marks shaped like handprints on the walls. The case was closed as a disappearance, but the town knew better. After that night, no one ever lived in the house again. 15 years later, a journalist named Thomas Reed arrived in Black Hollow. Thomas was from Chicago, a man who believed fear was nothing more than a story people told themselves. He had built his career exposing false legends and exaggerations. When he heard about the Carter house, he saw an opportunity, a forgotten town, a haunted house, and a mystery untouched for years. It was perfect, despite warnings from the locals. Thomas rented a small room near the edge of town and began asking questions. The townspeople were uncomfortable speaking about the house. Old men lowered their voices, and women crossed themselves before answering. They told Thomas that the house made sounds at night, whispers, sometimes crying. One man claimed he saw lights moving inside the windows at exactly 11:11 p.m. every night. Another said the house had a smell like old smoke mixed with something rotten. Thomas wrote everything down, amused rather than afraid. To him, it all sounded like mass imagination, fueled by loneliness. One evening, Thomas decided to visit the house himself. He brought a notebook, a flashlight, and a camera. The sun was setting when he reached the front porch. The air felt heavier there, as if the house was pressing down on him. The front door was unlocked. That alone surprised him. He stepped inside, and the door closed behind him with a soft but final sound. Dust filled the air, and the floorboards creaked under his weight, though the house itself felt strangely alive. Inside, the walls were covered with faded wallpaper, torn and long stripped. In several places, Thomas noticed dark handprints burned into the wood. They were small children's hands. As he walked deeper into the house, the temperature dropped. His breath became visible. Then, somewhere above him, a floorboard creaked. Thomas Frosty, he told himself. It was just the house settling. Yet his heart began to beat faster. At exactly 11:11 p.m., Thomas heard a sound that made his blood run cold. It was laughter, soft, slow, and distorted. It sounded like a woman trying to laugh while crying. The sound came from upstairs. Against his better judgment, Thomas climbed the stairs. Each step felt heavier than the last, and the air grew thick with the smell of smoke. At the top of the stairs, a narrow hallway stretched out before him, lined with closed doors. As Thomas walked down the hallway, he heard whispers. They weren't clear words, but they felt personal, as if the house knew him. His name echoed softly from the walls. When he reached the last room, he pushed the door open and found a child's bedroom. Old toys were scattered across the floor, untouched by time. In the center of the room stood a tall mirror, covered in dust. Thomas wiped it clean. The reflection showed not Thomas, but a man much older, with hollow eyes and blackened skin. Behind the figure stood 3 children and a woman, their faces burned and expressionless. Thomas tried to step back, but the floor beneath him felt like it was sinking. A voice spoke from the mirror. deep and broken. It said that the house did not kill the Carter family. It kept them. Their fear, their pain, and their final moments were absorbed into the walls, the floors, and the air. The voice told Thomas that the house needed memories to survive. It fed on those who entered without fear, those who believed they were safe. The door slammed shut behind him. The lights from his flashlight flickered and died. In the darkness, Thomas felt hands grabbing him, burned hands, pulling him toward the walls. He screamed, but the house swallowed the sound. The next morning, the townspeople noticed the front door of the house was open. Inside, they found Thomas's notebook lying on the floor. The last page contained a single sentence written in shaking handwriting. This house does not haunt people, it keeps them. Thomas Reed was never seen again. Even now, the house still stands at the edge of Black Hollow. At 11:11 p.m., lights appear in the windows, and if you listen closely, you can hear a man's voice whispering warnings into the night. But the house is patient. It always waits for the next one who doesn't believe.